150 videos at 72 calls for a tag, a massive shout out, and yes, a new dress. Hi book friends, I'm Marilyn Maya, and today I just got a certificate from YouTube saying that I made 150 videos, but I had planned to do this tag before I got that notification, so I thought I would make it a mini celebration. I'm actually doing a tag, my personal rules for reading. And this is an original tag by MJ, and it was inspired by Michael K. Vaughan's The Rules of Reading, and I'll have the video linked down below. And MJ is reading this life, and she's a big champion of small booktubers. So I thought, when I saw her last question is tag some booktubers, I would do a massive shout out. So yeah, I want to be part of the celebration of MJ's tag, because MJ loves to tag small booktubers. I went through my subscription list, and I wanted to tag people who either they have relatively small booktube channels, or they have medium size, like 1,000 or up to 2,000 maybe, or more or less. So I was really enjoyed these prompts. Personal rules for reading. We all have them. So what are they? So I'm going to do, she said this was an open source tag, which means that here are 4 questions and you add to it. So whatever, you can mention the booktuber who added his question or her question, or you can make up your own question, which I did both. So, okay, let's get to the prompts. Number 1 is, do you strive to read every day? If yes, do you do anything different or special to make time within your day? If no, why not? Well, as a booktuber, I think we're all striving to read every day, whether we have enough time or we don't. I'm retired now, though I am editing a book. I still do writing, freelance writing, and I am editing a book, so that's work. So, but I still strive to read every day, and usually I read at night. So, and that question will be below, so I won't go into that. But yes, I do strive to read every day. Before I joined BookTube, I was always a voracious reader, but I don't think that I had that drive to read every single day, though probably I usually did. Number 2. Do you always stay within your favorite genres, or do you experiment with reading different genres and subgenres? I have to say that before I became a creator on BookTube or YouTube, I tended to stay with the mystery genre for pleasure, and it gave me a lot of pleasure, though I did read other books, and usually those were Victorian fiction, like Jane Eyre, and some 19th century fiction, and a lot of nonfiction. But since I've joined BookTube, I find myself drawn to literary fiction more, especially translated fiction. And I didn't think that I would be that kind of reader, but I've turned into that kind of reader, and that's perfectly fine. I still love my mysteries, though. Okay, so number 3, do you DNF, do not finish? If yes, what was the last book you DNF'd, and the reason why? If your answer is no, then what drives you to finish this book? This is a yes and no answer for me. When I first started buying books, when I started BookTube, I sometimes made mistakes and bought books that were not to my liking, and and if so, I did not finish. But now it's pretty rare. And I find I sort of hate read a book, and I'm going to give you some examples. And then there's the do not finish for now, where I can't finish it because either it's a library book and it's slow going for me, and I still want to put it in, my TBR. But yeah, I rarely DNF a book because I think I know what I'm looking for, and I'm getting such good recommendations from other booktubers. So one that I DNF'd for sure was a book that I got at the library sale, which is Set in the Silver Sea by Jane Austen and a gentleman. What turned me off, beside the fact that it didn't get good reviews, I love the cover, and sometimes you get fooled by a cover. So this is Sanditon, and that's why it's by Jane Austen. But then someone finished it because that was one of her unfinished novels. But what turned me off even more, and I really hate this, is that it seems like it wasn't formatted correctly. Like, if you're going to do a self-published book, if you're going to write a self-published book, don't do this. Don't start the chapter in the middle, a new chapter in the middle of the page, and then have a horrible small font for such a big book. So this is a real DNF, and I'm going to either donate it or try to sell it, though I feel bad about trying to sell it though. And DNF is, I talked about The King of Diamonds, but I didn't mention the name, by Simon Tolkien. Is he the grandson? Yeah, of J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings fame. And I still want to try this book, but it's so slow going for me that I'm not sure if it's a DNF or not. A book that I'm DNFing for now is the first Bruno, Chief of Police by Martin Walker. And it's great. It's about Bruno, who is the chief of police in a small western French town, and it's a lovely book. But this is the first of the series, and it is pretty slow. I heard it does pick up, and it is starting to pick up, but I have to bring it back to the library. So this is a DNF for now. And then the hate read DNF, and I'm sorry if you like this book, but it's Euphoria by Lily King, and it came with wonderful, credits. It's the Kirkus Prize winner. It's the New York Times Book Review Books of the Year, and I really disliked it. It's a mixture of anthropology and like a three-way love triangle, and yeah, I read it to the end. I sort of skimmed it, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. If a book is really making me frustrated, I'm going to DNF. So this was more of a hate read. And if you liked it, I'm really sorry. It was just not my cup of tea. I wasn't sure if the anthropology was correct. I could be wrong. And the history was iffy at best, and I didn't like the main characters at all. So, why read a book that's not making you happy? So this is the last time I think I'm going to hate read a book. And then there's also a book that I might give another chance to. It's One True Thing by Anna Quinlan, and she's an author that I've had good and bad results with. So so far it was made into a movie with Meryl Streep, and that should have, and Renee Zellweger. I think that's Renee Zellweger. I don't recognize the guys in it. Let's see if it doesn't say. If you recognize them, let me know. Should I read this book? Or it was in my giveaway pile, so I'm not sure. But like I said, I have an iffy relationship with Anna Quinlan. I love her nonfiction, but so far I read Still Life and Breadcrumbs, and I really didn't like that one. And this is one of her first books. though I heard she has a book called Black and Blue that is really good. So I'm not giving up on the author. I might give up on the book. And then there's a book that surprised me. I don't know if it's a DNF, but it's on my shelf and I don't want to give it up. It's My Name is Asher Leave. I read The Chosen by Chaim Potok. I read a few of his other books and I really loved it, but for some reason I couldn't get into My Name is Asher Lev. So if you've read this book, let me know. So what's the next question? Do you like, number 4 is, do you like to read challenging books? If yes, what draws you to them? If not, why do you avoid them? This is a difficult question because I'm in the middle of a couple of difficult books. Translated books tend to be kind of difficult. And I'm reading a book by Cora Sandell that you would call a difficult book. It's the Alberta trilogy. And why is it a difficult book? It's not difficult in the sense that, there's a lot of ancient terms or anything like that. It's difficult because there's a lot of inner dialogue and prose that you have to read slowly, but it's so worth it. If you're really, you think that a book is difficult, give it a try, because the more you read of difficult books, the more that you find it easier. And I read, before I joined BookTube, I remember reading Portrait of a Lady by Henry James, and it was slow going. But I was so happy when I finished it because it was a good book. Maybe it was a little long, but I think that's what turns people off about so-called difficult books. And I think MJ said she's going to wait till she's older. And I wanted to try to convince her not to wait, because the classic books that I've been reading that, I've been drawn to because of BookTube have been so worth it. So, if you don't, why wait? Life is too short to wait. And I'm sorry I waited, so long to start reading so-called difficult books. So that's my take on it anyway. Then there's the question from Ollie, who tagged me, by the way, and his channel is Criminali, and I just love his channel. I don't read horror. I read a little pulp, but I do read a lot of mystery. So so I jive with him on that aspect, and he's the one who created the readathon Garb August, which some people really loved, and I read a few pulpy books for that one. And he says, do you read books by authors whose views you disagree with? And his answer was no. His answer was yes. He does read books with authors that he disagrees with. And I have to say that my answer would be more no than yes. I don't read books with authors that I really, really don't like. For example, and this might be a little bit of, controversial. I've recently heard that Charles Dickens was not a very good husband or person. I could be wrong. This is something that I've heard on BookTube. But I feel, like Great Expectations is on one of the essential reads, classic reads, you must read before you die. And I think that I want to read that book. And like I said, I want to read it in a serial form because that's the way it was written. Number 5 is, do you read books by authors whose views you disagree with? That question was from Ollie at Criminali, who tagged me, by the way, if I haven't said that before. His answer was yes, he does. He doesn't really think about the author. He thinks about if he wants to read the book. I have a different answer. For example, J.K. Rowling, is a very, controversial author, but I haven't read the Harry Potter series, and Maybe, everything she's done will make me not want to read it. But for example, Willa Cather is said to have anti-Semitic views, and I loved her books, O Pioneers and My Antonia. So it depends. I would say it depends how hateful these people are, So I can't say for sure that I would not read a book by a controversial author or not. It depends. And then my question is, do you have a rule around your ambience or atmosphere when reading book? So music, setting, indoor, out, around people, alone, sitting in a chair, or being in bed. I do have rules around that, and kind of stringent rules. I like to read when I go to bed. I wasn't always like that. I used to read on buses. I used to read sitting anywhere, doing anything. But I always, I never liked people. I could read in buses with people around me speaking, and trains, etc. And now I have less patience for that, I feel. And I don't like any music with vocals when I'm reading. I need to concentrate. So I would say that my ambience feeling has changed. I never really loved reading outside, like at the beach, because I was distracted by wanting to, look around, go in the water, because I was a big ocean person. Not that I know how to swim well, but I love water, and I'm not going to sit in the sun reading a book. It's just not me. Even in the pool, around a pool, I don't want to read. Okay, so if you want to answer that question, that would be great. Now, MJ said to tag some people, but I'm going to take it a step further and do a massive, for me, shout out to some wonderful booktubers out there who have made my days very happy, and given me wonderful recommendations. So I'm just gonna say a little bit about them, if I could remember, because some of these people I subscribe to, and I found out some of them have dropped their channels, and that was kind of sad, because I really liked some of their channels. But anyway, my first shout out is Ann Novella. Is new to me, and she's I'm really getting to like her videos and the book she reads. Now, Wonderful Kim at Middle of the Book March has been very kind to new booktubers, as well as a little bit not so new booktubers, about how to do this booktube thing. And she's funny. Her intros are funny. I love a lot of her books. Some of the books she reads I don't love, but she changed her name to Middle of the Book March because she loved Middlemarch so much, and I think I'm going to read that for Booktuber. So yeah, check her out. She's really a wonderful person, as well as a booktuber. And I think I shouted this booktuber out before, but I'm still going to shout her out, and that's Sonia, or Sonia, at An Enthusiastic Reader. I watch her channel all the time. A new one for me is, she's not new in the sense that I just started following her, but Kristen at Enter the Book. Check her out, because she has a lot of interesting topics that I'm interested in anyway. And then a new one for me is Melissa Furman. I like her because she tells it like it is, she doesn't beat around the bush, and if she doesn't like something, she's gonna she might swear a little bit, but she has so many wonderful books too that I like. So hi Melissa. And a new one is Angelia from Read and Reread. She had a lot of interesting topics, and I was just watching a video of hers today. And the lovely Lil at Lil's Vintage World. I've shouted her out many times, but the reason that I'm shouting her out right now is that she does Tutor Timber, and I just picked up a Tudor book and I thought of her. So hi Lil, I hope you're doing well with your Tudor books, and I hope I get to read my Tudor book before the end of September. And Sonia at An Enthusiastic Reader is someone that I think I've shouted out before, but it doesn't hurt to shout her out again. Another person that I really respect is Hannah May. Her tagline says books, disability, and vlogs. She reads a lot of memoir, which I really appreciate, and she talks about disability, books about disability. And I have a few disabilities, so I always enjoy hearing about her TBRs and what she thinks of these books. And she gave me a lot of books that I've read and loved. And then I think I've talked about Katja Weinhardt, and I'm mentioning her again because I really respect anyone who uses a real microphone to do her videos. I think that shows a very, she has a lot of self-confidence and professionalism, which I need. And then I haven't watched her videos recently, but she's a wonderful person, and I just watched one of her videos, and she makes me stretch in my reading. And that's Beth Ann, I hope I can say her name right, Beth Ann Bruniga Sokolar. And she's just a wonderful person, and she reads a lot of, I'm pretty sure she's a scientist. And so she's, you know, really smart, and I can learn a lot from her. And Leo Bancroft, he does a lot of he's queer and does a lot of reading of queer books and trans books. So he's just a lovely person who always smiling, and I like him. Read Becca Reviews, another booktuber who does a lot of reviews. I respect booktubers who do reviews. They're very hard to do, and unfortunately they don't get many watches, and they should get more because it's not easy to review a book. I do a lot of reviews online, and I know, you know, that it's tough. But check her out. Kind of new to me booktuber is Gem of Books, and she's just a lovely person from the UK. I have a lot of UK subscribers. I think I said this before because I am in a place where when it's very late for me, it's sort of early for them. So for UK people, so she is a lovely booktuber, and she is involved in a lot of readathons, and I might join one of her readathons this month or next month actually. Then there's Aaron Facer, and it's almost like everywhere I go I hear his name and I'm subscribed to him, so I need to watch more of his videos. An older booktuber for me is Lisa of Troy, and I don't know why I haven't watched many of her videos lately, and I put her on top of my reading of watching videos because she's really a great booktuber. Let me know if you know Lisa of Troy. And of course there's Hannah's Books, and she is just a very soft-spoken, wonderful person. She's also a writer. And then there's Kazan of Always Doing. She's a Tokyo, I think she lives in Tokyo. She's a medical translator, and she reads a lot of romance, but she reads a lot of nonfiction. And I've read a lot of books because of her, but I also she does crafty things and things that I'm not good at. So I love to just watch her. She's very soft-spoken and very calm, the opposite of me, right? And then I just wanted to mention Heidi of My Reading Life, who reads a lot of nature books that I'm starting to get into, and I think she's also a scientist. So we have a lot of smart people here. Well, you know, like I said, I want to thank again MJ of Reading This Life, and also Ollie from Criminali for tagging me. MJ for making such a great collaborative video that everyone can add something to. And I hope you watch this video and you add your own questions. Even if you're not a booktuber, even if you're a subscriber. And thank you so much, everyone, for liking my last video about essential books, classics. I'm going to do another one very soon, the second part of that, because everyone gave me such wonderful feedback on that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy all your reading, and that you will join me in my next video. So please subscribe and like and press the notification bell, because I plan to do more videos like this. So until we meet again, aloha.